Hi, I'm Paris of Paris Ashley Home. Sorry, I might be a little bit dark because of the contrast of the bright light outside. And we are going to be building a bench right here for a dine-in, kitchen, eating nook. This bench will have storage. With that said, let's get started. All right, so I have my plans drawn up. There you go. Very professional plans I have. Basically, I just measured the back, the angles, the width of everything. I am going to attach all of the 2x4s to the top and bottom and then the support pieces all around, and then I will make my front frame and then determine if I can move forward without the floor vent adjustments. I'm waiting for it to be delivered. It'll be here in a couple days, but I'm going to try and see if I can make it work to build it now without having to wait. So let's get started. All right, for starters, I'm just measuring the width of this. It does not need to be the exact angle because all of this is going to be hidden. It just needs to be able to support the plywood that will be on top of this. So this is roughly 53 and a half. And I'm going to make it 53 and a quarter to make sure I have room for the other board. And this side is roughly 29 and this is 30. 53 and a quarter, 29 and 30. Let's go get these cut. We're using our stud buddy to find all of our studs first. So you know there's gonna be one here. All right, we got all of our studs marked off. Next, a traditional chair is 18 inches high off the ground. Now we need to account for the 3/4 inch plywood plus the 1/2 inch plywood. So that is 1 and 1/4 inches plus the 3-inch foam seat I am getting, which will compress to about 1.5 inches. So we want to make this roughly 15 and 1/4 inches high to account for the plywood and the foam seat. And you can see it is 18 inches, 17 inches on the base. So because the outlet is here, we're just going to go ahead and make it at the top of the outlet, which is going to be 16 3/4, and that's going to be okay. That's going to be really high. I'm going to cut out a notch in this 2x4 to go around the outlet. And 17. All right, we're at 17 inches, and it's what it has to be. It'll be a smidge high. I can just make the table. I am building the table too, which I can do a tutorial on that as well. I can just make the table just 1 inch higher as well. So let's get this screwed into the wall. So for this side piece, I cut it down 1 inch shorter when it's up here. So when I put this piece this way, there's enough clearance with the doggy door to make sure that it attaches. All right, for all the boards that are not stuck in here, I'm gonna pull them out and I'm gonna put a pocket hole, 2 pocket holes in them, and try and get one of these each into a stud. If I can get 3 to 4 screws in each, I'll be happy. I'm probably going way over excessive, but I'd rather have 2 more than less. So we're gonna do that. All right, that's it for day 1. I got a late start today. Tomorrow we're gonna build the front and add the support beams on the bottom and the top, and then potentially cut the plywood. We will see. All right, we're back for day 2. So I am going to be attaching this top piece up top first. The measurements just seemed a little off, and I don't want to build the entire front and then attach it all together because I feel like it won't be level. This side is 17 and this is 16 3/4, yet everything is level. So that tells me that either the floor is wrong or the wood is wrong or something, but that's how it is. I will screw this in, get it level, and then I will attach the bottom. With the bottom piece, because I am having to move this air vent or redirect it, I'm waiting for the attachment that'll go on top and redirect it to the front. I will be cutting out the 2x4 here and here. I will have plywood on front as well as shiplap to hide that, and it's not needed right there. I will add support pieces right here and right here back to this to hold the 2x4 from sliding back. So on that note, let's get started. I'm going to attempt to attach this myself. It'll be very hard without anyone else's hands to keep it level, but I got this. Wow, that is perfectly level. So I got 2 in the side connecting to this one, and then I put 1 into the wall. Yeah, feels sturdy. All right, the top piece is attached. Before we attach our bottom piece, we're just gonna check our measurements. 23 1/4, 23 1/4. Woohoo! All right, so the angle finder didn't work, so we're gonna go ahead and do it a different way that doesn't require an angle finder. We're gonna go ahead and put this against the wall and grab our 2x4, place it right here, draw a line, and this will be the exact cut that we need for this board. All right, and there you go. See, now our angle is correct. All right, now that we have our cut right here, we're just gonna place it and then simply draw a line underneath, because that's gonna be a lot easier than trying to measure that angle. And there we go. So we'll go get that cut, and then I'm gonna cut 2 for the top and bottom. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna create pocket holes to be able to attach this on both ends and down there as well. So that'll be our support pieces for both of these. All right, so I'm gonna change the layout of this. Instead of putting this guy here, I'm gonna get a new one, and I'm gonna go this way. That'll just give me an extra 1.5 inches of space. This is where our dog food is gonna go. So I'm gonna do that for the top and bottom. All right, I have all my cross pieces cut. So we're gonna go ahead and get those attached. Then we'll get the vertical support pieces attached. And then we're ready for plywood. Yay! On this last one, I am doing 6 pocket holes. Might be excessive because this is gonna be the support piece for the center. I am going to do 1 lid, I have decided. That's just gonna have the HVAC, the air vent. So I'm gonna make this a solid piece of plywood, and then I will have just 1 door lift up from right here that you can access either that side or this side. But this support piece will be for the center for weight. We have a bench! Woohoo! I ran out of 2x4s, even though I bought extra. I guess I was just, you know, over cautious. But I had a couple 4x4s that I put in this front piece. I'm not putting a stud underneath it, so I actually put 5 screws in here, and that's not going anywhere. This whole area is going to be storage. I'm going to do 1 solid piece of plywood with 2 openings, but then the door will just be 1 door to access both of these panels. This right here will not be storage because that's where the air conditioning is being redirected. This will be small storage, and that will be dog food. I'm really happy with how this is turning out, and I can't wait to add the plywood to it, but that's going to be tomorrow. We are done for today. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to day 3 of the bench build. All right, today we are going to be tackling the plywood. So we are going to start off with the front piece plywood. I will not be attaching it. I will just be cutting it to size, so that way I can get the top and know how far over the top needs to overhang. If I cut the plywood on the face to the exact height, and then I cut the top plywood to the exact width, there will be a little notch gap. So I want to make sure that the top piece of plywood overhangs to cover the top of the base plywood, as well as to cover the 1/4 inch shiplap I will be attaching to the face. So I will roughly be needing to make the top plywood 1 inch longer than the depth of this bench to cover the 3/4 inch plywood and the 1/4 inch shiplap. With that said, I will be having 2 face pieces. The first piece of plywood will stop right here, and the second piece will also stop here, and that will give me the ability to cut this plywood when the air vent piece gets delivered tomorrow, the redirect. I will be making the top bench into 3 pieces of plywood, 2 corners, and a middle piece. So let's get started. All right, so this is the thickness of the shiplap. So I'm just gonna hold it up for my measurement. So that is how thick the top needs to be. Which is 24 and 7/8, just a little over. 24 and 15/16. Perfect. All right, while the top piece is in position, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out the holes on this piece, and then I'm gonna attach it so that it doesn't shift when I am building the corner pieces. I'm going under. I'm gonna use a 1-inch ruler and draw a line 1 inch away from all the beams to make sure that there's that extra support in here. All right, can you see the squares? So these are my cut lines. I'll be using my jigsaw to get these cut lines. Ooh, she's perfect. All right, we're gonna go ahead and attach this with our nail gun. All right, so we have pizza boxes. We are gonna use these as a template for the triangles. So on this side and that side, we're gonna get these cut and go from there. Cool. All right, so we have both our templates made and both the pieces for the cutout. All right, here is the right template. There we go. All right, what are the odds? These fit first try. I also cut them on the rough side, not the smooth side, so that's a bummer. Oh well. Not good. Outlook not good. Ooh, that one fits. Oh, but it's out too far. All right, after a few back and forths, let's test it out. Ooh, sweet. Perfection. All right, now I will use these as templates for the larger pieces. And the reason I used OSB is because it's super cheap and you're never gonna see it. It's the underlayment. And I will do a trim piece right here on the front edge to cover up all of this ugliness. We have a bench. All right, I got this piece cut. I didn't show the process of it. I'll show the process on the other side. I wanted to make sure I figured out how to do it. I plunged the circular saw so that I can get the straight cut. I'll wood fill in this little crevice. It's not, 100% perfect, but there'll be a cushion on top of here, and it is good enough. So I have a little hole to open. I'm probably gonna have to trim this off a little bit so that it slides up. But I'm really happy with that. So I cut the top plywood a 1/2 inch more than the bottom so that this lid would sit right there. And then I also cut it not the exact same as the bottom piece so that it wouldn't have the same groove. And then I will just pull it up to match like that, to match the edge when I nail it in. And I mean, there'll be a tiny little gap back here, but again, there'll be a cushion, so I'm very happy with this. So on that note, I'm going to show you how I cut this on the opposite side, and then we'll get to the middle piece last, and then we'll sand all of this. This is why I use the crappy plywood, because I have the nice plywood on top, and it's going to be painted anyways. And then again, I'm going to do a trim piece right here, so you'll never see any of this. First, we're going to recut this. There we go. So taping is going to prevent that splintering on the wood. And we don't want splintering on wood. No, we don't. Just gonna hold it down and trace. Alright, now we have our line. We're gonna go ahead and cut this piece with our circular saw, and then we'll cut the rest with the jigsaw. We're going to run inside and see if this fits, and then we'll be back out to cut to the center. Perfect fit, so let's cut out the center. Let's start off by tracing this exact, and I'm also cutting this upside down to again prevent tear out on the wood. Next, I'm going to tape on the edge of that. I'm going to grab my clear ruler, and I'm going to measure a 1/4 inch bigger than that hole. Make our mark. Again, this allows the lid something to rest on and not just fall through the hole. Okay, there's our cut. So now we're going to plunge it with the circular saw. Use the clamp just to hold it down, make sure it doesn't move. Okay, have to pull up the safety. Then I set it on my line. And then I just watch and line it up carefully. Once you have all 4 sides plunged, you can go ahead and grab your jigsaw and finish the cuts. Flip it over, and you can see it fits. Now we'll open this way, so we're going to put a circle hole right here. Again, we're going to tape so there's no tear out. And then, to help the bottom from tear out, we're going to grab another piece of wood, and then you put that below. And then grab your drill. And there you go. Alright, let's see how it looks. Let's go ahead and place this here, line it up. Perfect. Get this guy in. Perfect. Lifts. Perfect. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and take both corners out and sand them, and then I will nail them in and attach them so that I can get the exact measurement for the middle piece and get that cut. Alright, we have all of our corner pieces sanded and cut to fit, so let's go ahead and get them attached so that we can cut out the centerpiece. Good, that's flush. Okay, this gap is a little bit big. I think I might add some Bondo in there just to fill it up so it looks, you know, complete. Now we need to make the big old cut on top, so we're gonna measure that. We're going 2 1/4, 2 1/4. Okay, yeah, let's see. 2 1/4. Ooh, thanks, too. Okay, top is it. Okay, what's this? Is it 3? 3 more colors, okay. Alright, okay. So let's see, and yeah. Alright, I'm gonna get this piece cut out and punch cut it as well, and then sand it, attach it, and that will be it for today. Alright, last piece for the day. And perfect fit. Great. Okay. This is I'm gonna call it day 3. Yesterday I did fill in with wood filler the cracks just in between feeding kids, and I got it sanded. So I'm calling this the official day 3, even though I only have an hour and a half to work. But we got the toe ductor to redirect the air vent. I'm not gonna give you a full tutorial on how to do that because everything's covered and I'm not gonna be able to film it, so sorry about that, but there are great tutorials online already, which is how I learned how to do it myself. After we get this attached and cut, I am going to prime everything with our Zinsser shellac primer. This is my favorite primer to use. It prevents any yellowing coming through. Even though we are using a dark paint, it is still good to prime all your woods from, you know, smells that come through from plywood or whatnot, what have you. For all these pieces, here are the hinges. I will have to, this hinge is 1/8 of an inch thick and this gap is 1/8 of an inch thick. So that is not enough for it to be able to open. So therefore I need to cut off 1/8 of an inch off the back of all of the boards. And then that will give enough space for the piano hinge to connect to. Then I'm gonna get all of the shiplap cut for the front and get that all installed, prime that, and then we will get to painting. So on that note, let's get started. All right, we got the vent installed and the wood cut, so I'm just gonna go ahead and attach the vent to this wood from the inside. Here you can see, there she is. We'll get this plywood attached and then we're going to prime everything. While it's drying, I'm gonna cut down the lids that 1/8 of an inch. Cool. All right, we're gonna go ahead and prime this. I think I'm out of rollers and I don't want to waste it on primer, so just going to use a brush. All right, all that's left is to add the shiplap and the trim pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and add my shiplap. I do make sure it is level vertically, and I use nickels. This is what I use to space the shiplap to give it that quote-unquote nickel gap. There is actual shiplap you can buy from Home Depot, but I like to use 1/4-inch plywood and rip it down myself. It's a lot cheaper and it's easier, and frankly, I think it looks better. It looks more natural. It looks like real shiplap that you'd find on an old house versus the stock stuff you can get at the hardware store.
As we get to the vent, I don't attach those. I do space it properly, but I don't attach them so that I can cut out the space for the bottom of the vent. Next up, we are going to add that trim piece. You can see those cuts for the shiplap down below. I'm going to add this trim piece on top. This is going to give it that finished look. I use my knee as support because, you know, I am a one-woman show here. Go ahead and attach it, and then you can just feel it on top to make sure that it is nice and level. I do rotate my nails going back and forth to make sure that this does not come off. I definitely use entirely way too many nails, but you know what? It's better to have too many than not enough and have my kids jump on this and have it fall off. So I like to go excessive, but that's just me. Last, we're going to add our bottom trim piece. This is a 1/4 inch round. I already painted it prior so that I wouldn't have to paint on the wood floor and get paint there. I do use touch-ups, and this I'm going to use my pin nailer so that I don't have to wood fill any of the holes. You can just paint right over these pin nails and you'll never see them. Next up, we are going to wood fill this crack to give it that seamless look, just to give it more of a professional look and feel. I did caulk on the back side. I didn't end up showing that, and I do caulk on the top of the 1/4 inch round. Just to give it that seamless look. Again, you can see in the back corner that it does have that caulk. I do sand the wood filler, obviously, to make it nice and smooth, and vacuum as I go, and we're just gonna keep sanding away, sanding away. We're almost done sanding. Okay, we can be done sanding now. It's time to paint. I use the color Rock Bottom by Sherwin-Williams. It is a gorgeous dark green, but it does have a little trickery. Sometimes it looks like a dark blue in different lighting, and it's kind of one of those chameleon paints, and I just absolutely love this. I do use a urethane enamel paint. This will prevent any chipping over time, and it cures to a rock hard state. It has the polyurethane inside the paint, so you don't have to use a top coat once you use this. Once we finish painting the top, we do need to paint that shiplap. I use a smaller brush in between the cracks. Normally, I paint the shiplap as I go and the edges, but I just didn't do that this time. I decided to make it harder on myself. So if you do shiplap in the future, I tend to paint the edges first so that you don't see white behind the shiplap. But again, I chose to go the harder route this time. I was on a time crunch, and I just figured I would have more time to take my time filling in these cracks later, which I did. Anyways, once we are done painting, it's time to add our piano hinges. These did not come with any screws, so I had to go to the store and buy screws. That was kind of annoying, but it's fine. I did not put screws in every single hole. It felt a little excessive. I put them on the lid first, and then this was kind of tricky. You just kind of have to hold it and get the screws in there, and then lift it, close it a few times, and adjust the screws slightly, but after like 2 attempts, it was fairly easy. Repeat on the other 2 lids, and guess what? We're done! Oh my gosh, look at, I built a bench. It's so freaking cute. Look at all these hinges. It has storage. I did not put dog food in that left one. It was too small. Oh well. But all 3 have storage, and they hold things, and it's great. I love it. It's so cute. I did hand make these cushions as well. If you enjoyed this tutorial, my name's Paris. I build things, and I teach you how to do it. So follow for more DIY tips, tricks, and YouTube tutorials. Hit that subscribe button. Bye.